Hey guys, welcome to Troy Time. Hey, check it out. Today we're going to talk about how to increase the productivity of your garden by capturing those spaces that are unused, much like the one to my left behind me here. So we're going to talk about that and what to do with it coming up next. Okay guys, there's lots of reasons why even the best planned gardens might have small spaces in between transitional periods. For instance, you might grow a determinate type of tomato, or maybe you grow cucumbers, right? Maybe your determinate tomatoes finish in the summer, and then there's 2 or 3, maybe even up to a month gap before it's time to plant those cool weather vegetables. Likewise, your cucumbers, maybe they finish in the fall, and it's 2 to 3 weeks, maybe up to a month before your first frost. You don't want to just let that area of your garden sit idle, okay? There's much better ways that you can use it. A lot of gardeners already do this. Most of the time, when they do this, they use radishes. Most experienced gardeners will say, hey, I can get a quick crop of radishes. And that's great if you love radishes like I do. But there are some problems. You can really only grow radishes in the cool season. So if it's in the midsummer, you really can't use radishes for that. And radishes take 30 days, usually about 30 days. What we're going to talk about is like 10 days to 14 days, maybe 21 days tops. We're going to give you an awesome crop for that, okay? Also, a crop you can grow in the shade, and that is pea shoots. Most people have not considered growing pea shoots outside, but there's lots of reasons that you should do so. There are many reasons. You can grow them in the shade. You can grow them, they germinate from 40 degrees to 85 degrees. That's your whole growing season. They grow together very closely, and you can get a huge crop in usually about 10 to 14 days. They're super nutritious, they're super fun to grow, and it's just an awesome thing to do. So that's what we're going to do in this video. We're going to jump in with just a quick little insertion crop. All right, let's talk about what kind of seeds to use. I always go to an international market or to an Asian market, and I just get whole green peas. Here I've got 4 pounds of peas for $5. That's an awesome, awesome price, about 1/10 of what you'll pay online. For a container, I'm going to use several different ones, but the main one that we're looking at today is the kiddie pool or the doggy pool. We're going to grow a bunch of pea shoots in this thing. All right, I'm going to soak them overnight. You can soak them in a bucket or something like this. I'm going to actually soak them right in the pool itself. So I hear we're using these Rossini, I believe is how you say it, peas, but any brand will work, any kind will work. You can use yellow peas, green peas. They'll all grow pretty much the same. We're going to soak them overnight. And here I'm using the kiddie pool, but you could use the bucket just the same. I'm going to cover them just because I don't want open water in my backyard. So I simply used another pool. I got these pools on sale, clearance on Walmart for like $2 each at the end of the season last year. So here's the next morning, and the peas have expanded. You want to start with it about 2/3 the size of the container you're going to use, and they're going to expand. So here we're going to drain these now, and we're going to take these out and get them planted. I simply used a strainer like the white and green seeding trays. I've just used the white tray as a strainer just to strain them out and dry them off a little bit. All right, guys, we've got our peas drained and strained. Now it's time to get these things into the ground. As far as soil goes, we're just using the regular garden soil. There's a little bit of perlite mixed in there, but you can really use anything. The peas don't need anything fancy at all. The peas actually fix the soil. We're just going to fill right up to the first layer of this, the first line on this pool. And we're just going to make sure that it's nice and smooth and nice and flat. It'll make it much easier to harvest if you have a nice level surface that you're cutting across at harvest time. So just flatten out with the back of your hand, press lightly, and flatten out your soil. This is about the density that we're going to use. Make sure you stay tuned to the end. We're going to talk about some of the lessons that we learned while doing this. I've done many, many, many batches of peas indoors with no medium whatsoever. This is the first time I'm using soil. So it's a bit of an experiment, and we're going to do a few different things and conduct a few experiments and see what works best. But this is about the density. We still got half our peas, so we're going to plant those in some other containers just so we kind of get that experience and see what we're doing with the soil end of this. This is going to be a great harvest, guys. So after that, you want to go through and pick out the little shells. That's important. Spend a little time here because you don't want to have problems later in case those start to rot. All right, so there we go. And then we're just going to water everything in nice and good. Now, I did poke holes in the bottom of this pool container just so you know, so that the water could drain. And we're just going to give it a nice rinse, especially the first one after the overnight soak, just to get all that residual stuff off of there. There we go. Looks good. Okay, so now I'm going to cover it. I do want to weight these. You want to weight your peas so that the roots go downward. So I'm just going to use another pool, and I'm going to spray water on top. You could do this with any container. You don't have to do this in pool. You could do this. I'll show you what we do with the rest of these peas in a very varied amount of different containers coming up next. But this is a good way to weight it down. I've just got the water on there to kind of add a little pressure to keep the roots going downward and keep good contact with the soil. And I'm just going to cover the water because I don't want open water in my backyard for bugs and things like that. All right, so now we're going to do this one in hydroponically. This is just a dish bucket from Walmart, and these white screens fit right on there perfect from your green and white planters in my other videos. I'm going to water pretty heavy here because I want a little bit of residual water in the base just for a nice humid environment. And then I'm just going to pop another dish tub on top just to cover it so it's in the dark so it can germinate and to give it just a little bit of weight. That one's entirely hydroponic. That's the way I grow it indoors, one of the ways, and it works awesome. So I know that's going to work out perfectly. Here we've got a grow bag with soil, and I'm just throwing another dish tub right on top of it just to keep it in the dark. And here we've got a rectangular planter. Again, I've got the peas in there. That's about the density. And for this one, I'm just going to stick it on a little plank here, and we're just going to cover it with another planter to try and keep it dark. Now here we see this one's not going to be weighted. Just covered, so that's in the darkness for germination. And lastly, we'll move to some of our vertical gardens here. These vertical gardens are awesome. I'll do another video on them soon, but I've been loving how well they're working. On the left over here, what we're going to do is we're just going to sprinkle them in. We've got a little space there, and I'm just going to put them across in one line. We've harvested some other stuff from here. Now this soil is open. It's exactly what I'm talking about. 10 days, 14 days, we'll have a nice harvest of pea shoots right off of this, what would have been an unused area. So that was the left-hand side. And what we're going to do here is we're going to cover it with a little tarp just because we do want to keep it in the dark. Again, these here were not weighted, but we're trying to keep them in the dark. So I just zip tied a little piece of tarp, and it's just being supported by the trellis there. That way you're not getting direct sunlight when you're trying to germinate. So that was the left-hand side of the vertical garden here in the shoe rack, hanging shoe racks. Now on the right side, we got another line of four containers that we're going to use, and we're going to plant those next. And just for a little variety, I'm going to cover those with soil. So here those are planted. They're tucked in right behind our peppers. So these are going to get like a scattered light. And then they're also going to get covered in dirt, as you can tell. Yeah, so a few different containers and a few different methods as far as if they have dirt on top or if they're weighted or not. This is where we get the first, I think this is day 3. And the germination's happening. We got a real good germination rate going on in our pool right here. Look at that. So much. This is just awesome. So easy to do this, guys, and so inexpensive. And just a quick harvest. It's great. So this is like day 6, and this is in one of our hanging gardens here, and this is awesome. They're tucked in behind the peppers like I was talking about, and they're just doing great. We had great germination there as well. This is day 7, I believe. Getting real close to harvest. And this is, I believe, harvest day. I think this is day 10. We're getting right up there. This might be day 9. I think I took this right before I harvested. And it's time to harvest these things. So they're tucked in there, and this just worked out perfect. This, I think, was probably the best method. Having soil on top and scattered sunlight is definitely the way to go. These grew a little faster than the other ones. Yeah, so now this is actually day 10. Day 10 on these guys right here, and this is definitely harvest day. You can see some of the shells have popped through the soil, but it just worked out awesome. This was a perfect grow. And it's a great amount. That's about a perfect amount for 2 people for a week, is what I harvested off of just these 4 little containers hanging here in this little convenient little space here. That's about the harvest from one container of the 4, which is a great serving, maybe 2. Here it is in the bowl, right? That'd be great. 2 people with a salad or in a stir fry, just like that. I think that's awesome. And harvesting all 4 of those, and we just get an awesome little harvest. This is the length of a singular one, so you can kind of see. Usually the tops are very tender, and then the bottoms, the lower you go, the little bit more crisper it gets. The tops are better eaten raw, like in salads, and the bottoms usually are a little better in soup or on a stir fry. This is those 4 bags. Look at that. That's an awesome harvest. That little area that would have just gone unused, and now we get this awesome harvest 10 days in. That's the whole point of this video, is to say, hey, these little spaces, you can just stick these things anywhere. That's what's awesome. That's what it looks like. That's where I trimmed them. About an inch above the soil. You just don't want to get any soil in there. So a little bit above the shells, a little bit above the soil, and you'll be good to go. That's the whole row tucked in now behind the peppers. That would have been unused space, but we got in harvest out of that tiny little bit, and a nice harvest that's going to make for some great meals. We'll cook that in some of my other videos. Yeah, I just love these pea shoots, man. We're moving now to the pool. And the pool worked out really well. We got a few corrections to make. So as you can tell here, we got just an awesome harvest going, and this was just working perfect. But I will tell you this, because we planted them so densely, and because we did not cover them with soil, we had a small, tiny little bit of mold problem on these. So I didn't harvest these. These I just threw into compost. Not a big deal. Like I say, these seeds, this here represents maybe $2 in seeds. So my $2 lesson on this is just cover those things with soil. So because there was mold on a tiny little bit, it was just starting to peek through. I just didn't want to mess with that batch. Here's our other containers. These worked out awesome, and these are going to fill that gap perfectly. So we've got our hydroponic in front, our soil grow bag on the left, and our rectangular container on the right. Great harvest on these. All these worked out just fine. In the pool, I'll probably again have some rows of air so that more air can circulate for those larger kind of quantities. But this is awesome. Look at the shoots just banging out of that bag. That's awesome. And the rectangular planter, we didn't get quite the best germination, again, because we didn't have soil on top on this one, but still going to get a nice little harvest out of that guy. It's really good. Pea shoots are very forgiving, and this is the perfect method. The hydroponic method for peas is just awesome. It's the one I use indoors all the time, so I knew that this was just going to be perfect. Those are just beautiful. All right, so we'll harvest these up here, and this is what that looks like. This is off of the hydroponic ones alone. And then coming up, we'll fill this whole bucket up with just those three little containers there. It's just going to fill that bucket. That's beautiful. Look at that. And again, those could have been any little space in your garden, and you got a nice harvest out of what just would have lied dormant. All right, so here's what it looks like after they're harvested. And we got a great harvest off just these 3 containers. We're going to take that inside. You're going to see they're just bursting out of these 1-gallon Ziploc containers. It's awesome. These are fresh. They're delicious. Again, used in stir fry, used on salads, used in soups. They're awesome. So yeah, I love pea shoots. They're a great thing to grow. You might not consider growing them outside, but you can grow a lot of them, as you can see, and you can grow real easy. So let me go over just the main points of why it's a great idea, and then just a couple of things that we learned during this lesson here. So pea shoots can be grown in the shade. They can be grown in any size containers. They can be grown with soil. They can be grown hydroponically. They can be grown all close together very quickly. In the first batch that was harvested at 10 days, those got scattered sunlight, right? So you want to make sure you have some scattered sunlight, or filtered sunlight is best. That's what allowed them to go 10 days, as well as they got a little bit of fertilizer, because I was fertilizing some of the other plants on that rack. So they did get a little bit of fertilizer as well. Make sure you cover the seeds with soil. They get scattered sunlight, a little bit of fertilizer, and I think it's just going to work out great for you. We did have a couple little hiccups with the a little bit of mold growing in the pool this time. So we'll do another version of the pool and we'll just cover the seeds this time. And I'll probably leave a little trench of air, maybe 2 or 3 trenches running through so we don't have so much bulk without airflow. So by covering those seeds, making those trenches, and giving it also a little bit of scattered sunlight, I think that that'll be perfection on these peas. So hopefully you'll give it a shot. I think it's just awesome. Hopefully you'll get so used to doing it that you do it continuously and actually plant it into your garden. It doesn't have to be just a convenient little in-between session of let me just use this soil. You can actually plant it as a regular thing in your garden. And also you can do it as a regular thing indoors like I do constantly and have done for a long while. But if you're not ready to go indoors yet, this is a great way to do it. Grow some pea shoots outdoors. It's super easy, super inexpensive. You don't need any fancy equipment. Literally, you can get super cheap seeds and then just throw them in dirt, right? Cover them up with some dirt. You'll be good to go. So if you fertilize them and you got all the right conditions, they'll harvest it in about 10 days. And if you just kind of set them there and just use water, you can look at maybe like 14 days. And then you'll have just a great harvest. So hopefully you do this. Let me know what you think about this video, and I hope you give it a try for yourself. I really do. Thanks for coming along, guys. I got lots of videos coming. I've been on a little bit of a gap, but now I'm back, and they'll be coming right away. So check back often. It's good to be back, and we will talk to you soon. This is Troy Time. I'm out.